It's midnight in December, and a lone traveler named Vijay is standing on an empty railway platform. The rain is pouring down in sheets. He's freezing, exhausted, and just wants the Pawan Express to arrive so he can get home to Rameshwaram. When a train finally pulls in, the carriages are completely dead. Not a single passenger is on board. Vijay steps inside, finds a seat, and shuts his eyes as the train rolls back out into the storm. He wakes up a short while later to water dripping directly onto his face. The carriage is pitch black. Disoriented, he checks his watch. It says 12:05. He checks his phone. Also 12:05. That is the exact minute he boarded. He pulls up his GPS to figure out where he is. The location signal works, but the railway app shows a strange notification. Tonight's train to Rameshwaram was cancelled due to severe weather. He can feel the train moving beneath him, but digitally and physically, he has fallen entirely off the map. Vijay flashes his phone light around the carriage. The floor is rapidly filling with water. The windows are suddenly shattered, and thick rust covers the seats and walls. He forces the doors open and steps out onto a dark, unfamiliar platform. He stumbles past a bench and pulls a sheet off a sleeping figure, only to find a bloated, waterlogged corpse. A moment later, a small, freezing hand grabs his wrist. It's a young boy, completely soaked, with solid white eyes. Vijay runs blindly down the tracks until a loud whistle stops him. A ticket collector emerges from the shadows. As the station lights flicker, the collector's face reveals the swollen, decaying features of a drowned man. He looks at Vijay and states a chilling rule. Whoever arrives at this station is never allowed to leave. Thick, wet sea sand begins welling up around Vijay's ankles. The roar of the ocean grows deafening as massive surges of seawater start washing directly over the railway tracks. Desperate for an exit, his flashlight sweeps across the platform and catches an old, rusted station board. The faded paint on it reads, Dhanushkodi. Dhanushkodi is a coastal town that was entirely swallowed by the ocean half a century ago. Vijay is standing in a physical location that no longer exists. The train's horn blasts, signaling its departure. Vijay scrambles desperately back inside the rusted carriage. Only this time, it isn't empty. The seats are packed with silent, unmoving people. A mother holding her child. Men staring blankly ahead. His heart rate spikes. The sheer terror overloads his nervous system, and he blacks out on the floor of the speeding train. He wakes up to the gentle sound of waves. He opens his eyes and finds himself lying on the sunny beaches of Rameswaram. Fishermen are casting nets. The sky is perfectly clear. He checks his hands. No scratches, no water, no rust. He lets out a massive breath, assuming his exhaustion triggered a vivid nightmare. Then he looks further down the shoreline. Half buried in the white sand is the crushed shell of an old railway carriage. He slowly walks over to it and peers through a shattered window. The rotting bodies of the silent passengers are still sitting inside, exactly where he left them. His eyes drift to the corner seat, the exact spot he occupied the night before. Slumped over against the rusted metal is a young man in wet clothes. The face is half decayed, but he recognizes it instantly. It's his own corpse. He turns and sprints toward the fishermen, screaming for help. They don't even flinch. He looks down at his feet. As he runs frantically across the soft sand, he leaves absolutely no footprints. There is no rescue coming. The ticket collector's role was absolute. Vijay is dead, and his soul is permanently tethered to the ghost station, dragged back to repeat his final terrifying moments on an endless loop. Vijay's story is a local legend, but his nightmare is built out of real historical facts. This supernatural trap is rooted in a very physical tragedy. In 1956, a massive cyclone formed in the Bay of Bengal, sending towering, violent surges of ocean water directly toward the Indian coast. The storm hit the bustling town of Dhanushkodi with brutal force. Within hours, the ocean dragged homes, schools, and hundreds of residents into the sea. During the chaos, a fully loaded passenger train was approaching the station. Before it could reach safety, a massive tidal wave struck, swallowing the locomotive and all its passengers whole. There were no survivors. When you look at the legend of the ghost station, the horror aligns perfectly with history. The rising water, the frozen clocks, and the trapped passengers waiting for a rescue. They are direct manifestations of how those victims actually died. The Indian government declared Dhanushkodi unfit for human habitation. Today, it remains completely abandoned, a permanent ghost city, slowly sinking into the sand. The skeletal ruins of the old railway station still stand on the beach. It serves as a quiet monument to the destructive power of nature. Legends like Vijay's endure because they help people process the unthinkable. When a loss of life is so sudden and total, the human mind fills the void, imagining those souls are still out there, waiting on the platform to go home. Tourists frequently visit these ruins near Rameshwaram during the day, but locals will always offer you one specific piece of advice: make sure you leave before the sun goes down. The physical town of Dhanushkodi may have been wiped off the map, but its tragic end guarantees it will live on as India's most inescapable ghost story.